lightning strike density map. Didn't even realize certain places get hit more than others. Well, I mean, physical objects, yes, the taller stuff gets hit. But what's interesting about this map is some of the places that see lightning the most are also some of the flattest states we have. Obviously, there's way more factors in play here, but just thought that was kind of a coincidence. So I can confirm as a Californian myself, I rarely see lightning here. Many square kilometers in this entire state won't see a single lightning strike for the entire year. And this pattern actually continues all the way through Oregon and up to Washington. And that's not how things go in the Northeast. They're experiencing a lot more on average, but still not that high compared to the rest of the list. There are a couple of outlier places deeper in, like in Ohio. Maryland's getting hit quite a bit, and so is this part of West Virginia. If you're thinking cities with a lot of skyscrapers would be hit more often, Chicago's not necessarily showing up at all in this map. In fact, look at Oklahoma and Kansas. Very flat states, but they're getting hit quite a bit. I've heard of Tornado Alley, but I guess there's a lightning strike alley as well. It's not even an alley, it's just like a roundabout. I knew other people got more lightning where they lived, but I didn't realize it was like everywhere else had more lightning compared to the West Coast. Is this just based on cloud to ground strikes? Yes, cloud to ground only. It's actually kind of incredible that we just have so much of this information. Tennis court density map. I enjoy tennis even though I've only ever played it like 2 times, but clearly certain parts of the world enjoy it more than others. Specifically England here in Great Britain. There's a severe lack of them in Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland on the other hand. I mean, this could be just because there's a lot more mountainous terrain, but then again, why would that stop them from building tennis courts? I don't know. Obviously, cities are going to have more tennis courts than others, so Dublin in Ireland is a perfect example of that. But fans of this sport extend all the way throughout Western Europe. You can really see it in the lowlands in Western Germany. Look at the drop off to Eastern Germany. Okay, so clearly, well, this map makes it very obvious. The former communist bloc, they weren't enjoying tennis very much. That's Poland, that's Romania, that's formerly Yugoslavia, Bulgaria. The only outlier here was the former nation of Czechoslovakia. They seem to have a lot of tennis courts. Interesting how there's so much more tennis along the coast here. Is anyone else noticing that theme? I started to recognize that slightly with Ireland, at least along the east coast. There's obviously indoor tennis courts, but I feel like all of us only usually ever see outdoor. Just driving by, oh look, there's a tennis court. You chuck a lot of this map up to a population density thing. I'm looking at Moscow, Helsinki, Stockholm. Look at these Spanish islands though, completely covered in tennis courts. On the opposite side of the spectrum, look how there's literally none here in Africa or the Middle East, just parts here in Turkey. Funny enough, even though that map didn't reflect it, tennis is apparently most popular in Spain, but these might just be fans of the sport. Maybe they're not playing. The world map, according to this Chinese hotel lobby. China, like America, maybe is struggling with geography as well, because I don't know how they came up with this. Yes, China connected to Australia. I realize hotels and airports, they like to make like artistic maps like this, but where is the art? I don't even think this was supposed to be artistic. This is just to show like time differences maybe. I mean, I'm seeing like weird clocks on all the continents. This is so horrific. Whoever they got to do this, they need to be fired immediately. Funny, the only 2 countries mentioned on the map besides the continents are the USA and, well, obviously China. Everything else is maybe just giant land masses to them. It's Cold War 2.0, I guess. It honestly looks like they're taking a crap on Australia, and they forgot to include Tasmania. At least they didn't forget New Zealand, like so many other maps. Talk about a guide to popular tourist scams. I wish I would have read this 2 years ago. The friendship bracelet. Someone will approach you and offer a friendship bracelet. Regardless of what you say, they will take your wrist and begin making it. They then, of course, will ask for payment afterwards. Sometimes this scam can be used to pickpocket you at the same time while you're distracted. Here's the rose for your girlfriend scam. A man will approach you while you're with your girlfriend and offer a rose. Oh, I know this scam. This is used everywhere. And the thing is, it works so well too, because you have to tell him no, and then you look like a bad boyfriend. But if you take the flower, it's gonna be like 50 bucks. The found ring scam. A woman will drop a ring right in front of you and ask if you dropped it. When you say no, she will inspect the ring and prove to you that it's real gold. It isn't. She'll then offer to sell it to you for a much, much higher price than it's worth. Why would anyone fall for that? So that scam's really only popular in Paris. The friendship bracelet scam can be found in Paris, Rome, Barcelona, and Cairo. Like I said, I've seen the rose girlfriend scam literally everywhere. Just put the whole world here. There's also the thrown baby scam. A woman will walk up to you and throw her baby, usually a doll, into your arms. While you're in shock, your hands are occupied holding the baby. Her accomplices will go through your pockets or bags. I don't care if it's a real baby. I'm gonna yeet that thing out of here. Street games. A man will perform a game such as guessing which cup a ball is in. Eventually you get pickpocketed by someone pretending to be an audience member. Okay, that makes sense. That's in Paris and London. The dropped wallet. Oh no. This can only be found in Rome and Ukraine. Okay, I thought this was gonna be a Romanian joke. An empty wallet looks as though it's been stolen, is dumped on the floor. Your instinct is to check your own wallet to make sure it's safe, and an onlooker will note that. Something I noticed is that pickpocketing is at a whole nother level in Europe. Like, they are really good. Usually you have to go to like a certain big festival or event here in the US to see like good pickpocketers. Not that you want to see that sort of thing, but I'm just saying. Stain on your jacket. Someone will purposely spill something. Oh, that's smart. Bird poop, ketchup. Then they'll help clean it. Of course, while they're cleaning it, they go through your pockets. This is mostly done in South America, in Argentina and Brazil. The shoe shiner in Turkey. A man will drop his shoe brush brush right in front of you. When you pick it up for him, he will say thank you. He'll then start shining your shoes. While it might seem like a free gesture, he actually will demand money. This is done in, Istanbul. Finally, woman selling rosemary. An old woman will offer you a spring of rosemary, which is said to be a sign of friendship. So they pretty much just perform their services and then force you to pay. That's like a common scam that I keep seeing here. Frickin' Rome needs to chill. And people wondered why I did not like Rome, the city, very much. Not that I saw any scams, it's just, yeah, Rome. Most used flag color combinations. So obviously red, white, and blue is going to be the biggest one. And that's correct according to this post. There's Taiwan, there's Norway, there's Chile, there's North Korea, there's Laos, there's obviously all the Union Jack states, Union Jack countries, Serbia, Croatia, obviously the USA, Luxembourg, Cuba, South Korea, Liberia. I said Libya there. An easy one is red and white. Obviously there's a ton of just red and white flags. The Swiss, Turkey, Tunisia, Qatar, Canada, Singapore, Japan, Georgia. But this one, this graph gets a little bit more interesting. Red, white, and green. Obviously a big one here. Mexico and Italy, Belarus, Madagascar. There's red, green, and yellow. These are a lot of African nations here. Mali, Benin, Lithuania, which is not African, but finally red, white, green, and black. This is Middle East usually. Egypt, Syria, Afghanistan. There is some African places though. I wish there was more on this list. Obviously another big color combination on flags is blue and white. You got Greece and Somalia and Finland. And then of course South Africa, which pretty much just has all the colors. The world's biggest exporters, but it's only of a single product or specific products in the same industry. Got some interesting resources out of Bulgaria and Sweden, then Portugal with this quartz, Finland here with copper, and then Czechia with non-optical microscopes. Each one of these countries holds the #1 position in these products, by the way. Poland with wood crates. That's just kind of funny. Denmark with enzymes. Belgium with frozen vegetables, and Austria with flavored water. Turkey raw iron bars, and Italy with unglazed ceramics. These are really weird. Ukraine, seed oils. Spain with pig meat, and Netherlands with photolab equipment. Great Britain, hard liquor. Of course, France with wine. Ireland, vaccines, and then we have, Switzerland. The CHE always throws me off. Of course, they got all that Swiss gold. Where do they get all that gold from, I wonder? Oh, look, Germany's next. Germany, #1, cars. But finally, #1 on this list, Norway, with all this gas. 154 billion. No wonder the Norwegians are so rich up there. So Red Bull is now flavored water. Forgot that Red Bull is technically from Austria. Spain is also the world's largest exporter of olive oil by very large margin. Which world currency has been in use the longest? I never even considered this, so we can assume the US dollar is probably not going to be #1 just because the US dollar hasn't technically been around that long. Starting off the list, in 25 we have the Indian rupee, but that started in 1947, so the US dollar will, I guess, end up being on the list, but it probably won't be #1. In 24, the Korean won. I didn't realize they both have that in North Korea and South Korea. I think it has like maybe probably different pictures on it though. Then there's Paraguay and Nepal's currency, Turkey and North Cyprus. Of course, the nation needed to be independent first for it to have its own currency. Sometimes the nation could have been independent for a while, but they didn't like start using this currency. 1925 for Mongolia. Poland here in 18th place, starting out with this currency in 1924. Cape Verde in 17th place. Didn't expect to see them. It's an interesting looking currency. Is that the Olympics on it? No, that's just 1,000. Nicaragua and Thailand. Also interesting to see which currencies are used by more than just one country. Like India and Bhutan, that was interesting starting off this list. Here's Nicaragua, Thailand, Costa Rica. Something to keep in mind though, in a lot of these places you still can use US dollars. Not that that really has anything to do with this post here, but we've got Macau in 13th place. Also Greenland, the Faroe Islands, and Denmark, 1875. Oh, they're kroners. Japanese yen being rolled out in 1871, same year that Germany became a nation. Kind of ironic there. Canada in 1858, that Canadian dollar. Oh wow, we're in 10th place here. So maybe the US is going to be kind of higher up on this list. We've got the Swiss franc in 1850. Where the Dominican Republic go? 1844. Colombia and Egypt. Egypt, of course, uses a pound similar to Britain, and most Latin American nations use the peso, or also a weight. In 5th place, the Falkland Islands. Falkland Islands pounds. Well, there you go. Argentina can't have this. They say pound, not peso. #4, Haiti, one of the first independent countries after the US. Well, the first independent country after the US. Finally, the US dollar, they ended up making it in 3rd, started in 1792. Okay, yeah, they ended up making it way higher in this list than I expected. Siberia in 2nd place in 1214. They're still using this? I wonder how inflation has impacted that. And #1, we of course have the pound sterling in the UK. Started at 800. This list is really just between Serbia and the UK, because all these other ones are not that old, like compared to the rest of history. This is amazing though. It has been continuously in use. Maybe this is the reason why so many currencies kind of make a reference to weight, because the pound here, it's been around for so long. There's other reasons why we use weight for currency too. Surprising the US is 3rd, considering how young of a country it is. And I was really hoping we'd see my favorite world currency. Nothing better than that Vietnamese dong, baby. A map of the US with almost every single proposed state ever. And there's been a lot of them. So upstate New York, they want to just call the Empire. Sounds crazy, but I have heard that. Keep in mind, some of these territories don't just want to become states. They want other states' territory as well. So Vermont dipping into the empire. Here's New Connecticut that would be landlocked in between New Hampshire and Vermont. Boston wants to become its own state away from Massachusetts. There's Essex, there's Newington. Some of these are probably from like really old times. Well, old for the US. Long Island to become its own state. North Jersey and South Jersey. Delmarva, I've heard of this, the Unified Peninsula, because right now this peninsula is just a mess. Providence also wants to break away from Rhode Island. So some of these are just cities that aren't happy with their state. West Sylvania, also West Connecticut. Why are there so many references to Connecticut? Virginia and Lunenburg. Funny enough, North Carolina and South Carolina have no proposed states. There's Dade that wants to be its own state, and then North Georgia, South Georgia. I could see where there'd be kind of the difference. Florida broken up into 4 different places. That'd be too many Floridas. We wouldn't be able to handle all that. Louisiana, just with one county wanting to do its own thing. There's been many ideas to divide up Texas for a while. Nobody lives in this part of Texas. This is a weird way to do it though. Like why yeah. I'm just imagining the Texas Triangle where everybody lives. Some of these proposed states aren't even U.S. territory. These are Mexican states. So Baja California, the Mexican state of Sonora, and Chihuahua. There's only about 10,000 people that actually live in the Oklahoma Panhandle. You just cannot be a state. I'm sorry. Remember that each state has to have 2 senators in the U.S. Congress, so that's why so many of these just would not work. You know how powerful these people's vote would be if just a state of 10,000 people got to vote for 2 senators? Maybe that's probably why they want to be their own thing. Dang, how many times are you going to divide up Illinois? Meanwhile, Indiana's just chilling here. There we go. Give the up to Wisconsin. Sorry, Michigan. Damn, they just wiped North Carolina off the map. Wyoming wants to take this part from Nebraska. Why would we need a West Kansas? McDonald, Montana's barely even recognizable. Again, in this part of the U.S., there's not that much people that live here, so they would have so much power in the Senate. Washington being named to Columbia. Have heard of the proposed northern part of California being called Jefferson, and there's so many different ideas to divide up California. I mean, I will say dividing up California makes the most sense. It is the most populated state. It also would be the 5th largest GDP in the world if it became its own independent nation. I think that makes more sense to divide up that state more than others. Like Texas at least has like its own history behind it because it was, you know, the way it joined the Union. It was a very unique way. It was its own independent country for a little bit there. Vegas, of course, wants to be its own state. A lot of these proposals could have been just suggested by like 3 dudes, to be quite honest. Oh, Hawaii's really never had like islands want to break away? That's surprising. Of course, Puerto Rico's U.S. territory. They aren't a U.S. state. They're just trying. Well, some people are trying to be a U.S. state here. Oh, and then of course, we've always wanted Cuba as a U.S. state. Same goes for Guam and American Samoa. These are territories that could maybe one day become U.S. states, but I feel like the U.S. just doesn't want to redesign their flag. They've got a nice 50 stars in the corner. Why throw 51 states in? It can be very difficult, I think. But once you get one new state and we have 51 states, then the floodgates can literally open up. I think we're going to need a bigger flag. I'm having a hard time deciding which one of these are the most absurd. North Slope has like 5 people. Nevada without Las Vegas or Reno would be, yeah, no population. I keep thinking about that. I'm kind of a nothing ever happenser when it comes to more U.S. states. I feel like it's probably never going to happen. We're going to stick with 50 forever, maybe. Big thanks to my patrons this month. I tried to kidnap Drew again, but he put me in his basement. Help. Drew's Argentinian Grandpa. I can't sleep
I'm back,
without
boys.
Drew's
Kansas,
voice.
Tyler,
Archaeology,
aPhatNarwhal,
Carmel,
Sarsath,
Pavlik,
the beautiful Megan-Underwood,
InquisitorXarius,
JohnDenver,
KansasWasMentioned,
KingBearHaze,
LuxembourgLover,
Mgmluthegoat,
the
sebby. If you hear this, I